Let's light up the world with some knowledge, guys. Let's go that final percent for one another, and let's see what we can do for someone else today. And with that being said, I'm going to start off with a quote from Buddha. All right. That guy had some pretty amazing things to say. It says, "Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Also, happiness will never decrease if it is shared." So let's get into that concept real quick today, because it's something that I think is very prevalent, and it's something that if you realize it and you really wrap your mind around it in this way, I think that it can be something that sparks something inside of you, no pun intended, maybe a little bit, to really light this world from the inside out with knowledge and hopefully some peace in this crazy time that we're running into. But I'm going to tell you guys a story on why this hits so home to me, and I think that there is literal, direct proof that this is true. And it all starts when I was in church one day. And to be honest with you, this was probably the third time I had found my way back to going to church so that I could really feel some connection to the religious side of who I am and how important I think God is in my life. And I was on the praise and worship team, and that particular day I was handed a candle when I walked in. And to be honest with you, I thought it was kind of weird. I didn't know what was going on. We hadn't really talked about anything ahead of time, but everybody was handed candles. And we began to sing and had a great time. And you could feel just the energy in the air. And it was a very kind of low-key but very emotional service. And we got done singing, and the pastor gets on stage and he begins to talk. And he says, "Okay, we're going to take out all of the lights." And I mean, when he said all of the lights, he got them to take out the exit signs, which isn't even legal. Lights on pedal boards, lights on on the screen on the keyboard. Like if it emitted light, it got taken out. So I'm not kidding. We're standing on stage and it is pitch black. It is dark. And I look in the very back of the church. Now, this was a church that probably held about 500 people. And in the very back of the church, there is one candle that gets lit. One candle. Doesn't really do anything. But you can tell that there's light over there. And all of a sudden, the woman who had her candle lit the candle of the man next to her. And he lit the candle of the person next to him. And this continues for about 15 minutes until every candle in the entire room is lit. And you can see everything in the room. I mean, there's 500 candles burning now. And it all started with one. That one candle, for all intents and purposes, changed that entire room. And that is what people should be actively doing. How many candles can you light today? If you have something to pour into someone else so that they can be better than they were, and I mean, think about it. If you're a candle that's lit and you know someone who is also a candle but they're not lit, go light them. It doesn't make you any less. Because think about it. If you look at those 500 candles that were in that room, that very first candle that started this whole thing off, is it any shorter? Is it any smaller? Is it any worse off? Because it, for all intents and purposes, lit an entire room. But I think the important message is it's not just that first candle. It's not just the first candle that lights the candle next to it. That candle that it lights has to think the same way, and it has to light the candle next to it. And then that candle has to light the candle next to it, and so on and so forth. So if everyone isn't on the same page wanting to light candles, it doesn't work very well. And if you always only leave it to that one person at the beginning who is lit to go around and light every candle, well, that's really inefficient. But think about it. In today's day and age, in leadership, how much of leadership is everyone expects the leader to be the lit candle and he needs to run around and light everybody else up? That's not going to work, guys. We have to light one another. We have to encourage one another. We have to receive that first flame and we need to pass it on. We need to constantly be looking for people that we can light. And if you are looking for those unlit candles, and that's the culture that you make, you can be so much more efficient because everybody's job is to light everyone's candle. Everyone's job is to keep the fire burning. Everyone's job is so that you can move forward and everyone can see better if everyone is lit, if everybody receives the flame. But it can't be one guy running around, and if some flames go out and they blow out and then he has to run back over there, if we're constantly as a team looking for how can we stay lit, we are going to be a team that is capable of so much more. And because of that, you need to understand it doesn't matter whether you're at the very bottom of the organization or the very top of the organization. If everybody is looking, how can we stay lit and how can we look for those dimming candles, the people who are starting to lose their flame? How can we help those people get really, really bright again? You are going to have a team and an organization, regardless of where you're at, that is capable of anything. And if you're a part of an organization that's capable of anything and amazing things, regardless of where you're at, you're going to be doing amazing things and you're going to be able to do anything. But an organization doesn't just pertain to work. It could be your wife. If you see her flame going out, go be that guy who lights it every time. It could be your family. If you see your kids' lights starting to dim, go be that guy who lights them back on fire for life and knowledge and learning. If you see your friends' lights dimming, always be that guy who has that energy, manufacture energy so that you can be lighting every candle that is around you all the time. Remember, you need to stop waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel and start realizing you are the light of your tunnel. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. This has been the Final Percent Podcast, and this podcast was kind of lit. Oh, sorry. I had to. This has been the Final Percent Podcast. Again, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hit me up. Any social media, Greg_KMG Life. You guys are the Final Percent. Thanks again.